I'll tell you, the frontier is vast, and with it come many people. Some good, some bad. Not everyone here is fighting out of greed. I should know. I'm fighting to protect my home. But before we start that story, I guess I should tell you a little about myself. My name is John Breaker. I was a simple farmer on the planet Vecta, a backwater colony free from the oppression of the IMC. Or so we thought. I was doing my daily duties on the farm, when suddenly there were huge ships appearing in the atmosphere, and next came the fire. An entire IMC battalion razed my hometown, killing everyone, including my dear mother. I was terrified. I fled running south in hopes of escaping the onslaught. Eventually I ended up in another village, and I tried warning them the IMC was here. But they didn't believe me. I went to the village bar and decided to get a drink before we all died. But fortunately I met a militia pilot by the name of Tob. I told him the IMC were here and we had to leave immediately. He gave me a questioning look.
Are you joking, kid? The IMC wouldn't come here, that's nothing but dirt. However, if what you say is true, I suppose we should alert the local militia fleets,
he said, pulling a lever under a desk that opened up a door to the left of the bar.
You coming?
He said as he started down the steps. I quickly followed him down, eager to see what was down there. It appeared to be a wine cellar, but something was off. I couldn't put my finger on it, yet I somehow knew this wasn't just a wine cellar. Just as I was about to ask Tob what this place was, we arrived at another door. This one had a number lock and what appeared to be a retina scanner. Suddenly Tob stepped forward and quickly typed in an 8-digit code and then looked directly into the retina scanner.
Good. Follow me and speak when all is spoken to. Don't want to piss off the militia commander now, do we?
Suddenly the door opened, and as we walked in I saw a huge monitor. Tob pressed a few buttons on a console and the monitor flashed to life, and someone appeared on the monitor.
Briggs, good to see you. Wish it was under better circumstances.
Barker, this better be important. IMC are all over the system.
It is, ma'am. This here civilian says he encountered some IMC down here on Vecta. Care to explain, my friend?
Tob said, giving me a sideways look. Ma'am, there was an entire IMC battalion sent down and they destroyed my town, killing everyone. I fled hoping to find help, but there are multiple ships in the atmosphere. I fear that Vecta will soon be under IMC control, I said, looking at the militia commander.
Okay, here's what we're going to do. Barker, evac everyone in that town and meet us aboard the Macallan. Briggs out.
I was shocked. This woman is going to evacuate a single town. What about warning the rest of the planet?
Well, you heard her, kid. We're leaving this dirtball,
Barker said as he started back up to the bar. I asked him where we were going.
We're going to gather everyone in town and Briggs is gonna send us an evac ship.
That was over 5 years ago. A lot has happened since that fateful day. Barker inducted me into the Angel City Elites after Briggs recommended me for pilot training. I now serve as an acting pilot in the militia, fighting to free my home from IMC control. This is our land, and we will fight for it. As I check my gear in the dropship, I look over at my compatriots. There was a rifleman, Pilot K. Fiend. He was an amazing grapple pilot, who put that ancient superhero to shame. Lance Spider, I think his name was. Next, there was our heavy weapons pilot, T. Grinly. He was on the brink of genius and insane. Can't lie though, his Spitfire always found its target. Then there was our sniper pilot, Kay Treskin. She always hit her mark, and she was the best sniper we had. If she couldn't see you, her pulse blade found you. As for me, you already know me. I'm a Covert Ops holo pilot, and I don't want to brag, but my targets narrate the real me. I suppose I should tell you what we're doing here. Me and my squad were traveling to a new planet, Typhon they called it. Our objective was to provide support for a classified SRS operation, but it didn't go as planned. Our crow was shot down by AOD. I still remember the screams. Are we near the drop zone? I groaned as I crawled out from the wreckage of the crow.
Negative. Trusca's been injured. Her throat is covered in blood.
Fiend looked scared as he tried lifting up Trusca's head to find the cut.
Here, take this,
Grinly said as he covered her throat in bandages and injected a small syringe in her neck.
She will live. Her vocal cords are cut, however.
Looks like you won't be talking for this mission, sweetheart, I said in relief that Tresca was going to be alright. All I got in response was a dirty look as she flipped me the bird.
Let's go, people. We don't have all day. The IMC aren't gonna kill themselves.
I started moving north with the rest of my squad. I started to wonder what had happened to the rest of the militia fleet. Would they be coming for us? Would they abandon us? No. I had to stay positive. I had to get my squad out of here, alive. Suddenly, we came across an odd IMC facility. As we took a knee and looked over at the facility, I noticed Tresca pulling out her Kraber and scoping out the facility. I saw her signal with her hand. 10 grunts, 8 specters, 3 pilots, 1 Titan, 1 hostage? Did I read that right? I quickly translated for the others.
Alright, Tresk, stay here and provide overwatch. Breaker and Grinly, move in. I'll stay here and provide Titan support.
I quickly moved in with Grinly. As we were moving in, we heard some IMC grunts talking.
Hey, do you know what they're doing up in the mountains? Well, I know, but whatever it is going to give the militia a very bad day. You know what I mean?
I've heard enough. I deployed a hollow decoy to run in front of the grunts. As they aimed their rifles and were about to fire, me and Grinly quickly got behind them and snapped their necks.
Shame. This one barely looks older than 20.
Grinly said solemnly.
You didn't have a choice, Grinly. It was you or them.
But I would soon find out that these IMC grunts weren't the only ones around. Suddenly, an IMC pilot jumped down from the trees and put Grinly in a headlock.
Drop your weapon now, terrorist!
As Grinly tried struggling, the IMC pilot put a gun to his head. I knew he was serious.
Don't listen to him, Breaker! Take a shot!
But I couldn't. I had no shot. Then, quick as lightning, the pilot shot Grinly. As I watched his body fall, I saw a sick smile on the pilot's face. I raised my wingman and fired not once, not twice, but 3 times. 1 in his leg, 1 in his chest, and the last in his head. As the IMC pilot fell to the ground in a pool of blood, I quickly ran to Grinly. I removed his helmet and looked at his face. He was a veteran pilot straight from the Titan Wars. As I closed his eyes and laid him down, I started to tear up. Grinly was like an older brother to me. I swore that I would make the IMC pay for this, and in a rage, I walked over to the dead pilot and fired the remaining 3 rounds of my wingman into the dead pilot's body. I had a mission to complete. As I began to walk back towards the base, I noticed Tresca was right. There is a militia pilot in the base, and he was chained up and surrounded by specters. Not a problem. An EMP grenade should take care of those metal bastards. Like clockwork, I threw the grenade and the specters fell. I rushed up to the pilot and started to untie him.
Pilot John Breaker, call sign and unit. Now.
Pilot C Rouge, 7th Titan Regiment.
He said as he started to stretch, and I handed him his jump kit and helmet.
Thanks for the help, mates. I heard these bastards talking. We really need to leave this facility. It's too heavily guarded.
Negative. I have my orders. These IMC scum aren't going to shoot themselves. You're free to leave, but I would appreciate it if you stayed and helped me.
Fine, but you have to promise to get me home in one piece.
Deal. That reminds me. Fiend, how is that Titan support coming along?
Titan support online, ready for your call.
Roger that. Request Titanfall, unit MB3888.
As I signaled for my Titan, I looked up to see her fall from the sky. My beautiful Ronin with a custom militia paint job. I loved her with all my heart. She was the best partner I could ask for.
Comandi trasferiti a pilota.
It's good to see you, Sophia. You ready to roll?
As I climb into the cockpit, I notice Rouge hops on top of Sophia after pulling out an EPG.
I really hope you know what you're doing. What are we after anyway?
Revenge.
As I start moving forward, everything feels like a blur. I remember running in killing several IMC infantry. Then there were the pilots. They didn't stand a chance against my sword.
IMC Titan acquired.
As I turned, I saw an IMC Tone walking towards me. Suddenly it opened fire on me. Quick as I could, I dashed behind a building, trying to minimize damage. And that's when Rouge hopped off and started running around the building, firing his EPG at the Tone. Before I could call out for him to stop,
All I saw was an explosive 40mm round throwing back. I quickly got out of my Titan and ran over to drag him behind cover. I refused to lose anyone else to these corporate dogs. Rouge! Can you hear me? Answer me, damn it! All I got in response was a bloody cuff and a groan. It looked as if just a blast threw him back. His armor didn't look punctured or damaged. As I started to check over his wounds, I noticed he opened his eyes and looked behind me. I turned to see what he was looking at. It was Sophia. She was not doing so well against the enemy tone.
Allarme, sovraccarico reattore.
Instinct kicked in, and I put down Rouge and ran to Sophia. I jumped on top of the enemy tone and tried to pull out its battery, but it reached up and pulled me off. As I struggled to free myself, I noticed Sophia pull herself up and pull out her sword. I watched terrified as she swung at the tone's arm that was holding me. As I closed my eyes and waited for death, I felt myself fall and the hand release its grip on me. I opened up my eyes to see Sophia slicing the Titan left and right until it fell down defeated. I stood up and walked back over to Rouge. He looked fine, except for a look of nausea on his face. "You alright, man?" As Rouge tried to stand up, he almost fell over and groaned in pain, grabbing his side.
Yeah, I'm fine. Let's go.
I rolled him over so I can inspect it, and I almost vomited at what I saw. It was a gruesome burn mark that burned straight through his pilot suit. He wasn't going to be able to move with a wound like that. "I'm calling you a medevac. We're going home." And that's my story. I never found out what happened to the rest of my squad. All I know is whatever operation the SRS were there for was successful, and a militia hero named Jack Cooper was responsible for it. As I sat in the ship's bar, I noticed a few familiar faces, but that's a story for another time. This is Pilot John Breaker, signing off.